Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello everyone, Rahul Chhaya here, trying to make investing accessible and profitable for the average investor. Now, my intention behind this video is to try and demystify the PE ratio. I think it is such an important ratio, and yet people tend to get confused while using it and bring in unnecessary complications into the subject matter. Hopefully through this session, I would be able to cut a lot of the clutter that's out there around PE ratio and help you see it in a new light. So first up, I am looking for the person who invented the price to earnings ratio, or the PE ratio as it is popularly known. Of course, he may no longer be around, but I wanted to ask him, why create all this confusion? When you do an FD in a bank, you don't say that you did your FD at a PE of 20x. All you say is you got an interest of 5%. Likewise, if you invest in a corporate bond at 8% yield, you don't say that you paid a PE of 12.5x. All you say is you got 8% interest. So why is it that when you invest in stocks, you have to speak the PE lingo? Why say this stock is available at 20 PE and that one at 30 PE, instead of saying 5% earnings yield or a 3.3% earnings yield? By the way, I hope you realize that the inverse of the PE ratio is the earnings yield, or the rate of interest you are earning. 10x PE ratio means a return of 10% on your investment, or a 20x PE ratio means a return of 5%. You take the reciprocal of the PE ratio and what you get is the earnings yield. Now coming back to my point, the logic behind using PE and not the earnings yield is to convince gullible investors that you have to pay a premium for buying quality companies. It sounds a lot more convincing to say that you are paying a 30 PE for a high quality company versus 20 for a low quality, than to say that you will earn 3.3% earnings yield on a high quality company versus 5% on a low quality one. Mathematically, I am saying the same thing. It is just that I have a better chance of persuading the end investor to buy the stock if I explain it in terms of the PE ratio than the earnings yield. Now, people have misused this simple ratio to justify any PE multiple for a stock. All you have to do is stick the label high quality or high growth and you can give it any PE multiple you want. So for example, a company has a PE of 100x and you ask, why pay 100x PE for this stock? The answer you will get is simply because it is the next big thing and therefore the premium is justified. Now try saying you should invest in this because you are getting an earnings yield of just 1%. Well, a PE of 100 is nothing but an earnings yield of 1%. So try saying this and all of a sudden the high valuations become hard to justify. Therefore, while the PE ratio is a great time saver and helps you take quick valuation decisions, it is not without its share of misuse and mischief, as I just pointed out. I hope you are aware of the definition of the PE ratio. It is nothing but the current market price of the company upon the annual earnings per share. It tells you what multiple of earnings are the investors willing to pay for the company. A PE of 15x means that investors are willing to pay 15 times the latest earnings of the company in order to buy a share in it. A PE of 30x would mean that investors are willing to pay as much as 30 times earnings and so on. Now, the most important question. How does one interpret this PE ratio? How does one know whether the PE ratio of the company is high or low, and what should be the right PE ratio for a stock? Let me try and explain. You see, when you are investing in a stock, you are playing two roles simultaneously. You are essentially living two lives, and you have the privilege of taking advantage of any of these two lives. The first one is that of a minority shareholder. You can also think of him as a silent partner in a private business. Now, how would you determine the true value of your shares or your holding in such a business? Simple. You have to imagine that this business is your only source of livelihood. You have no other income and therefore you need at least 10% return on your investment. So if the business generates rupees 10 crore profits on an average, you will value the company at rupees 100 crores. Why 10x? Well, because a 10x PE multiple is nothing but an earnings yield of at least 10%. You see, if I invest in a bank FD right now, I get around 5 to 5.5%. So I want returns that are at least twice as high because I'm taking a risk when I'm investing in shares, and therefore a minimum PE of 10x seems like the right thing to do. So if I am a minority shareholder or a silent partner in a private company, a PE ratio of 10x or say 12x seems to be the right PE ratio to pay for a company. I know that the company may be a high growth company and therefore it can easily justify a PE ratio greater than 12x. But I want to be conservative and not pay for that growth upfront, and therefore the maximum PE that I would like to pay in my capacity as a silent partner in a private business is 10x or 12x. Now let us talk about your second life or your second role. Your second role as a shareholder in a company is to hold a piece of paper, that is share certificates, which can be sold in a matter of minutes at a price which can change every second on the stock exchange. Now you are all very familiar with this price. It is the share price of the company that you track daily or even hourly, I believe. This price you can easily access from any stock market website like our very own Equity Master. All you need to do is enter the name of the stock and voila, its latest price flashes on your screen. Okay, here comes the most interesting part. Ideally, a company's value as a private business and the price of its shares when you list the same business on the stock exchange should eventually converge. So if a stock is valued at 12x as a private business, its shares should also trade at a price to earnings ratio of 12 times on the stock exchange. However, this is not true across a lot of companies. A lot of companies trade at significantly higher valuations as a listed entity than they would as a private entity. Now, I cannot imagine a day where Asian Paints or Titan or Nestle will ever trade at 10 to 12 times PE multiples anytime in the near future. Because of the quality of their businesses and attractive growth prospects, they will always command a premium over other normal businesses. Investors know that these are listed entities and not private businesses. Now, what has happened over the years is that investors have come to depend more and more on the stock exchange prices for their returns and less on their role as business owners. This has given rise to premium valuations where investors are not afraid to pay very high PE multiples. You see, in your first role as a silent partner, the profits of the business itself was your source of income. There is no stock market where you can buy your shares today and sell it tomorrow. However, in your second role, you don't have to depend on the profits of the business for you to earn your returns. You can always buy a stock at rupees 100 in the stock market today and sell it at rupees 150 6 months down the line. Now, it is the presence of this stock market that has given rise to a lot of speculation of this kind, where a lot of businesses do not trade at 10 times or 12 times earnings. They trade at PE multiples of 20x, 30x, 40x, and even 100x for that matter. Investors buying at these PE multiples know that they don't have to depend on the profit of the underlying business for their returns. They don't mind paying a premium of 100%, 200%, even 500% as long as they are able to sell it to a greater fool later on at a still higher PE multiple. But are these premiums justified? Asian Paints, Titan, Nestle trade at a PE of anywhere between 80 to 100 times. This means that they are 8 times or 10 times more expensive than our normal businesses, where we said that the PE ratio should not be 10 times to 12 times, more than 10 times to 12 times. Is this justified? Should the Nestle's and the Asian Paints trade at such high PE multiples as compared to their other counterparts? My personal view is that they are not justified. Good quality companies like these do deserve a premium, but I don't think it should be this high. But you don't have to take my word for it. I leave it to you to decide, because I strongly believe that, like beauty, value too lies in the eyes of the shareholder. But what I can help you with is a baseline PE multiple against which you can measure all the other stocks that you are evaluating. And this baseline PE multiple is 10 times to 12 times for a small cap or a micro cap, and around 18 to 20x for a mid cap or a large cap in my view. I'll repeat that again. Baseline PE multiple of 10x to 12x for a small cap or a micro cap, and 18x to 20x for a mid cap or a large cap. If you think a stock has great growth potential or is of high quality or both, you can decide your premium based on this baseline PE multiple yourself. Maybe you can give it a slightly higher PE multiple if you think it will grow at above average rates over the next 3 to 5 years. My only suggestion would be to not pay a very high multiple and keep a certain maximum limit beyond which you will not go at any cost. This instills a sense of discipline and saves you from getting carried away and paying very high PE multiples just because you love the business. So the next time you are evaluating a business, see whether it's trading at a significant premium to our baseline PE based on which group it falls into, a small cap or a large cap. And if it is, then ask whether this premium is justified based on the earnings quality or the growth prospects. If it's not, then you are perhaps looking at an overvalued business which you should reject for the time being. One last word on which earnings to consider in the denominator of the PE ratio, whether it is the future earnings or the present earnings. Well, since present is a fact and the future is an opinion, it is always better to stick to present earnings. And also, one should consider the latest 12-month earnings if the earnings have shown a definite growth trend. If the earnings are volatile and are not stable, the average earnings of the last 3 to 5 years can be considered while arriving at the PE ratio. By the way, at what PE should one sell a stock? To be honest, this depends on the type of investor you are. If you want to take advantage merely of the undervaluation, then you can exit after gains of 50 to 100% or 2 years, whichever is earlier. So if a stock goes up 50 to 100% in a couple of years, you exit, no question asked. However, if you are a buy and hold investor, then the decision will obviously be based on the underlying business. As long as the quality is intact or growth is happening, one should not sell. However, if there are clear signs of any of these factors suffering an irreversible damage, an exit can be made. So that's it. A lot of people out there make PE ratio too complicated, but it doesn't have to be this way, to be honest. Like we just saw, approaching the whole situation with a clear framework, a clear blueprint, makes the job much easier. Besides, the purpose of the PE ratio is not to tell you the exact true value of the stock. It is to tell you whether the stock is significantly undervalued or overvalued and whether your downside is limited if you buy it at the current PE ratio. So don't quibble if the stock you like is available at PE of 15 instead of the 12 PE ratio you're willing to give it. If you really like it, go ahead and buy it at 15x. Likewise, if you find a stock expensive at 30x, it doesn't make sense to buy it at 27x. A PE of 20x is when the stock may become attractive in such a case. Therefore, the idea is to be approximate and not precise when it comes to the PE ratio. So there it is, my take on the PE ratio. One last thing. I recently came across this interesting book, Inside the Investments of Warren Buffett. That's the name of the book. You know what PE ratio Buffett paid for quality stocks? Well, mostly between 7 times to 18 times. That's right. He invested in listed stocks based on his first role as a silent partner, and I think this is one of the big reasons why he's so successful. So do let me know what you think of this approach of analyzing the PE ratio. And do subscribe to the Equity Master channel if you haven't already. Goodbye. Take care.